No one had ever seen him with his guard down. I knew that it was rare. With everyone else, he would snap his fingers if somebody brought up anything he didn't like. Snap, and you're out. Because he could create his own world, and in that world, everyone had to agree with what he said. But in our world, I would say what I felt, and he loved that about me because it wasn't aimed at him. I could be real without hiding anything. He knew I was a lioness with my children, with anybody I loved. He'd have me deal with people, be the bad cop. He respected how and what I felt, and he usually agreed with me regarding people around him and the shit that was going on. Well, he loved that part of me until we started fighting, and I aimed my honesty at him, which was at the end.
Michael lived with us at Hidden Hills. Sometimes we'd stay at Neverland too, but mostly he was at our house. In Hidden Hills, the call of wild coyotes would send me to sleep. But at Neverland, I would wake up to a pet giraffe outside my window. At home, they were a regular married couple. They would drive us to school together in the morning, just like a normal family, though sometimes Michael would bring along a chimpanzee. Before you ask, 'twas not Bubbles. He would often sing to us. To my mom, he'd sing the Bart Simpson song, Happy Birthday, Lisa. To Ben, he'd sing Ben, his first ever solo #1 hit. And to me, he would sing You Are Not Alone. One day, Ben was on the oak tree swing in his diaper. He often only wore his diaper, or no clothes at all, and he was going really high. He was shouting, Look, Mimi, wanting to show Michael how high he was swinging, wanting to impress him. But Michael was busy playing with me. My brother fell off backward and hit his head on the ground and began to cry. We all ran over to check on him. The next day, he decided to poop under the swing in protest. After her marriage to Michael, my mother traveled with 10 security guards. When we would drive around, people would throw their bodies at our car, smashing into the windows, screaming, trying to grab us. My brother turned to me one time and said excitedly, They're following us. I snapped at him. They're following Mimi. We weren't allowed to go outside without a hat or sunglasses on. I'm not sure what they thought that would achieve, but I remember hearing my mom and Michael laughing so hard one day as I walked into her closet to find her trying on a ridiculous long red wig. They both had wigs on, all in the vain hope that she and Michael could go into the real world without being recognized. My mother and Michael were always very sassy with each other. They talked to each other the same way that Delta talked, or Patsy. Both brought with them generational addiction issues, and both of their families came up from poverty too. Vernon had been a sharecropper and carpenter, Joe Jackson a crane operator. And both Michael and my mother's father knew all too well what it was like to have godlike fame, a fame that seemed to have appeared overnight. My mom was very comfortable around Michael's family. She loved having dinner at Havenhurst with them. Michael really wanted kids with my mom from the minute they got together, but she never felt certain about it. She didn't have that feeling she had with my father. Whether to have children was a fundamental conflict in their marriage from the start. I know that once in a while Michael would say, If you're not going to have children with me, then I'm going to find somebody who will. He would also say, Debbie Rowe told me she will have my children. To which my mom would respond jealously, Then go fuck Debbie Rowe. All I knew of Debbie was that she was a kind lady who helped me with my ear infections.
When Michael had called me after the allegations, what he told me at the time was that Evan Chandler, the father of one of the accusers, was extorting him. And I think I told Michael to settle it. Everyone advised that he settle because it was going to be a fucking nightmare. As for child molestation, I never saw a goddamn thing like that. I personally would have killed him if I had. I didn't want to be on the front lines, didn't want to make any kind of headlines. I grew up avoiding it and hating the press. I did the interview with Diane Sawyer in 1995 to protect him. I thought he needed me, and I loved that. It was really nice for me to be able to play the female role for once, where I could take care of my husband. After that interview, I got sued by Chandler because Michael had signed a confidentiality agreement with him and had been coached to not approach the subject. But I'd never signed anything. So I would go right in and say that the allegations were not true, and that's how I got the lawsuit. It went all the way down to the deposition stage, but I won. In 1995, Michael released his story. I was in the studio with him all the time he was making it. When it came time to do the pre-press, it was clear the pressure was on him. I started noticing differences in him.
For about a year, they were riding the high of being newly in love. And then things went downhill.